So today we are back to building a factory to satisfy the void, but these couple of platforms that are over here are not gonna cut it because they don't look like this. So that's where we reach across the expanse of space here to find an asteroid that has what we need. This asteroid's blue, dabba-dee-da-doo, but right over here looks like these couple of asteroid blocks here satisfy at least half of that. So what we gotta do is build a shape miner here that can extract from this, but the output's kind of limited. So we get a shape miner extension here that can push into there, and then if we build a couple more of these to push into that, then they all connect, and now we can have a full output here, which will allow us to build extractors on all of these spots. So they are all ready to go as long as we build some conveyor belts over to the edge of the platform like this, as well as copying all of this layout to these other spots. So now we have full extraction here. Whoop, that doesn't quite line up. There we go, but now they're kind of waiting on the edge of the platform here. So we just back out a little bit, and then we can build some gigantic space belts to bring it over to the main platform, right over here. So now they're all moving across the space belt at way better speeds. So we should probably set up some things here because the shape isn't quite ready to dump into the void yet. We only want half of it, so let's put some cutters in, and it destroys the west half, which is thankfully the half that we don't need. So we get all of these ready like this, and now the shape is ready to extract, so it's ready to bring all the way over to the void. Hopefully this doesn't get too backed up, but we have all of the conveyors in place to get a lot of output here because we do need 1,200 of these shapes. We also need 1,200 of these other shapes. So while this is going, let's find that other asteroid that we need, which has a little blue corner on it. Aha, there it is. Or there's this one here. We could go either way, but there are some other bonus objectives that we can also do for a little bit more research points, which we do have a lot of right now, so maybe we should upgrade some things first, like cutting speed. That should keep the line from being clogged, and also unlocking some other buildings like this cutter here. That would actually help preserve both halves. Let's get that. And then maybe some more belt speeds as well would help. So they're both level 3, and wow, the cutters are going very fast. So it's a little backed up, but it's not the worst it could be. But now that we see there's a bonus objective here for gray with red, let's pin that, and then let's see, rotated stacking, colorful star. We can get this one too. But now we're in a position where we do want both of these halves. So these half destroyers should be replaced with proper cutters, which will take a little bit more setup, I think. Although it shouldn't be too bad, we can replace these ones on the outside here like this, but we should probably give a little more room. So let's build doubly out like this, and then just destroy all of this for a little bit. So we get more cutters that are lined up like this. That looks good. So these conveyors on the outside will turn into here, and then both of those can go to this conveyor, I guess. Hopefully they don't clog each other. Rinse and repeat to all of these down here. And I think all of these should work out. So now we're exporting 2 shapes. Thankfully, this pin task down here doesn't require as much. We already have 183 of these as well, so this is going extra good. Now, I did see one of the asteroids had this on the other half of the shape, and that was over here. Thankfully, this one has a blank corner, so we don't need to cut things twice. So we should be able to do the same thing here. And to that effect, let's go back over here and just copy this whole arrangement, because it lines up perfectly down here. Although we can't really bring it to that same spot, but we also don't really need these shapes anymore, I believe. Or I guess there is some other things that we could do with those, but we have bigger things to worry about, because if we do enough of these milestones here, then we can unlock fluids and painting as well as trains. I like the sound of that. So really, let's just scrap these. We can get those back if we need them. But now we have a landing spot for this conveyor here. And since we also need both of those halves, we can copy this whole arrangement now, at least to a point. We'll probably have to deliver them to a different spot because we don't have these launchers unlocked. Ooh, these conveyors are so close to lining up super satisfying like. But that means that that's going good. We actually probably need a little more space here. Otherwise, there is some launchers that we could put down to get things to the other side of these belts. but I feel like it'd be better to just redo all of this and then have it go a little more wide around here, which should work just as well. And thankfully there is just enough space to do this. It's not the most efficient conveyor system, but at least it looks really cool. So now we're able to do both of these tasks at the same time. And thankfully this one's more than halfway done, and so is this one. And the flow of shapes is also very uneven. There's a whole dump of blue squares and then a similar size of whatever you call this, a suker. And while this is going, we can see what other tasks we are able to do here. Maybe there's something similar. Okay, mushroom. I think we might be able to do that, but there is also this one here that I did see as another option for that blue corner. That was right over here. Thankfully, we already have a very good system for this. But let's bring this around down to here, just so we don't clog up the rest of the space up here. And those are just the 1/2, so we don't need to worry about splitting them. So now we're really able to do some multitasking. Hey, and that first pin task is done. So we unlock that, get a little bit of research, and we have the next thing to worry about, which is stacking a gray half circle on top of the other one. And that also costs a lot of shapes. Thankfully, there is still the gray half circles here. So now we should worry about separating these. So the gray and red half goes one way, and then this goes the other way, which might be a little difficult to do. Can we launch this one over to there? It looks like we have the distance to be able to. There we go, beautiful. So we should be able to rinse and repeat that with all these other ones as much as we need to. And this one over here, we can just continue like this without worrying about a splitter there. And then just seeing one more launcher for this one. Thankfully, the distance is very adjustable. So now we're able to keep this flow from interrupting, but we also need to put these shapes somewhere because it's getting clogged up again. We will need to rotate these as well, but there is a 180-degree rotator I remember seeing in here, but we need one more thing to unlock that. Oh, shape goal complete. And that was the top one. Okay, so now it just wants the full circle? Well, that's easy. Or is it? I forgot this one had a gray corner on it. Okay, so now we need to redo both systems. So let's just stop all of this. There is a swapper here. Oh, shape thing. Okay, good. We got an extra research. So now we can get that 180-degree rotator if we want to. But I thought there was a combiner as well, or is that also something that the stacker does? It's been a while since I played this. Well, if the stacker does do that, then we should be able to elevate this like so. So we start to do that, but we also need to split it. So we have a second conveyor going below here, and then they should be ready to stack, which, okay, we need a rotator in there. So we still need that 180-degree rotator. Thankfully, we completed that one, so whoa, that's a weird shape. But let's see, upgrades, 180-degree rotator. So now we do that, and there's the shape that we need, yes. That makes it easy to copy to all of this, if there's room for it. This is gonna be extending quite a bit here, but there should be room for it all. While we're still trying to figure out what to do with all of this, but at least all of this is in place, and actually might be better to bring this line down to the side over here. I do like to look at this a lot better. So now this will flow again as long as we figure out what to do here. And we should be able to launch like this. Did we just complete another objective? I think we did. Oh, good, we got both of those. So, oh great, we have another thing to worry about. One thing at a time. At least we can start this flowing again so the shapes can cut again. And then let's bring this around like so to give this conveyor belt a little bit of room. Can the launcher actually have a side input? I don't think it can. So let's start this going over that way sooner. And now we can get this in there. Okay, good. Why don't we just have this feed into there because they both got to go the same way. And then also 180. And thankfully we can clear the contents of this as well. So now things are going properly. But we still need to set up this. Really should just save this as a blueprint over here. Thankfully that's very easy to do. So we just plug that in there and it already has everything installed on it. Very nice. So now the shapes are able to launch over here. We bring this around like that, I guess. And we do need all of these to go through a cutter because we only need half of it. But 2 of those should definitely make the process easier. And those would actually synchronize pretty well, maybe. But let's see, the gray goes on top of this, so that's something new. Why don't we readjust this then? Because we can have them feed up to here and then launch. That'll put them on the second level already without wasting time on the main platform. And then the cutters can also go up there. Really like these multi-leveled systems. And then that means that these conveyors can go below these to double the stacking potential. So now we're making the shape that we need. But now we need a spot to put it. Do we really need 2 of these lines over here? I think we might. Also, I totally forgot we needed to stack half of these. Actually, they're going. It's just taking a little bit of time. And we could definitely use this speed upgrade on the stacking, but one thing at a time. Let's just have this line feed into here. So now both of those shapes are going in there. Very nice. Now we do have 2 more lines to figure out here, but it should be more the same. We get these rotators in like this, and then we could probably split the line up here even more to get it over there, with a couple of cutters going this way. Oh, those are rotators, not cutters, whoops. There we go. And then the stackers will go straight from the launcher conveyor belts. So now it should be all of these conveyor belt production lines working at full speed, including the stackers, I believe so. It's just a little backed up here. We should definitely do more of these pin tasks so we can get more research to speed up the stacking. We only need 1 more to increase it there. So we can work on enhancing this one to fulfill this task right here. And that means instead of the destroyers here, we need the simple cutters. Thankfully, I do really like this setup here. I just hope we have room for it. It looks like we do. Very good. Although, actually, it looks like it's the same side of the shape, but we can rotate one of these if we had a counterclockwise rotation, but we don't, and we don't have enough research to unlock it. So we do have a 180 and a 90 rotation. So we bring this side up on an elevator, just like that, and then this bottom side here gets rotated 180. Or that, I don't think that did it. Oh wait, did that do it? No, we undid it, whoops. It's already there. So now we're not there yet. Put the stackers in a little early. We still need to rotate this top shape by that much. There we go. But now it's actually the wrong way, so we still needed that counterclockwise rotation. But now it's 90, so I guess what we can do in the meantime is place a 180 right after it. But this side lined up. Oh, I see what happened. Some of these splitters are splitting the other way, so this side down here doesn't need the extra rotation, just the one side does. That makes a whole lot of sense. But we connect all these, and now we're making the correct shape. Or we were. I feel like we messed up the rotation down here too, or it needs rotation is the problem. That fixes it. Now for safety's sake, we'll just clear all of these conveyors and then connect them. Beautiful, more side tasks being complete. Now there is this one here that we might be able to do based on all of this, because this side is just kind of wasted, but there should be an asteroid that leans more to that shape, right? Kind of does. There is that one there. We might be able to feed that in, but it's also on the wrong side. Whoa, I just looked in the space void and there's a giant crystal thing that's floating around there. Is that going straight into the pit right there? Or is it going through it? The UI's in the way. I think it just went through it. Weird. That seems like a giant space leviathan thing. Okay, but something else I want to do is actually just copy this whole thing because this is a really good extraction layout. So that's going to be good for putting it right down here. And thankfully the giant space conveyor belts also have different levels that they can go on. So that should help get this around both of these conveyor belts to be on the correct side. And we'll just introduce that over here. But instead of going above, it goes below. So now with those shapes, what do they look like? So we just need to destroy the western half. And now we don't really need these blue shapes anymore, but I think we'll worry about what to do with those later. For now, we need these red shapes going up and around. So now it should be as simple as stacking them and they should be good to go. I suppose there is the trash void things that we can put in place to destroy shapes entirely that we don't need. But there is also this milestone here that I may or may not have forgotten about. Don't worry about it. But this is also where the counterclockwise rotation would come in. So maybe we should wait for these to complete. And I was wondering what was happening to these shapes. It looks like the bottom conveyor didn't quite reach its mark. There we go. There they go. My goodness, that's a lot of backlog there. Now that's going properly. And now we're extracting all the shapes that we need. It got to the point that we weren't able to cut the things anymore because all of these shapes got backed up. I do wonder if we set up here. Okay, we can launch from the upper level. Just because I don't feel like redecorating all of those conveyor belts there. The bottom one is easy because it's on the outside, so that's no issue. Actually, why don't we just do that to keep it consistent? Much more satisfying that way. Beautiful. Sadly, we also need 1,200 of all of these, although this one is halfway complete. But we are starting to fall behind this shape here with this one, so why don't we just do the same double rotation thing we did up here? and we should have just enough space here to do that. It might choke the output a little bit. Actually, it might be fine. So now that should be stacking those the correct way as long as these are connected. And yes, we're getting those extracted now. Man, we really need that extra stacking output. We can do without counterclockwise rotations for a little bit, but also what's happening down here? Oh, it's just the style of conveyor belt doesn't match. That's no biggie. Although it is unfortunate that this is so slow because we still need 2,000 of these. Maybe there's something else on another asteroid that we can bring over. I'm not really sure, but we're also running out of space on this central platform here, so it might be worth it to set up a foundation out in the middle of space that we can build things on and then deliver. That might be easier. And I think the production line we have set up here might just fit on this building foundation here. So let's interrupt this line here with this, copy this whole arrangement, and then we can bring it over here. Easy. And then we bring it all the way back to the space conveyor just the same. But we should probably clear this space conveyor here, and then over here we can finish off these little shapes here. But then we'll just need to simplify it so it's no longer bringing the wrong shapes in. Look at that one there, it's got 3 levels on it for whatever reason. But look at that, now we're bringing the correct shape all the way across space to the main platform. Much easier. Although there was still shapes, I guess, in the backlog there, and these shapes are closing in quick. So it's time to just simplify all of this, clear all of those, and then we just bring in the conveyors as normal, which I guess frees up the launcher spot here, so that's good news. And the shapes are spread out enough that they shouldn't overlap on these 2 conveyor belts anyway. But now I really wish we could do something over here to speed this up, because that production is incredibly slow, which it doesn't help that it's not as simple as flipping and rotating like this one was. So is there another spot that we could do that? Reaching way out into the cosmos. This is probably beyond where we can reasonably build. Reasonably. There's also no more colored shapes. Okay, there's this guy way out here. There's a lot of expansive space. Oh my goodness, we're getting different colors too. How far does this go? I don't think I've seen it stretch this far before. I've been holding down the button for like a minute and it's still going. Never mind, take me back. Much safer over here. We might be able to do an additional thing here, maybe. Actually, there is more blocks up here, so we don't have to interrupt this production line, although it is currently backed up. Do we have enough real estate here to double this? We might be able to. I think we can. So splitting that should work easier. And just because I can, we're gonna launch these sides. Actually, this side we don't need to. So that should increase our output, even though we're about 3/4 done with this shape. Once we're done with this though, well, there's probably gonna be another step. Yeah, sure enough there is, and oh my gosh, that's getting complicated. Okay, it's actually not too complicated. It's just another rotation for whatever reason. Rubaroo, Rubaroo, Rubaroo. And then of course there's a step 4, which is another rotation. What kind of spiral staircase is this? At least each additional step gives more research points, and we should be able to just extend all of this as is. So really, this entire pin task chain can be built on one platform. That's handy. And is everything going okay? I guess we missed a step here, but that all should be going good. Hey, and we completed the other pin task. Very good, 2 more research points there. Okay, stacking speed, I think that's a must. And then the next one, should we use that to get the counterclockwise rotator? There's also other things we can get, which is an overflow splitter. That is kind of cool, but that is expensive. Or the swapper might be helpful. Not too sure on that, but there is also another thing we gotta do here, which is kind of the same thing, but we need to put a flat gray square thing on there, which if I remember right, there was still an extractor pointed there. Sure enough, there is. We just need to stop this from going to the void and direct it down here instead, because the shape that we need is down here. So this should really be a pretty easy step. We cut, we rotate, we move these up to the 2nd floor, and then can we split these going both ways? Thankfully we can, so we can split that into 3, or there is 4, so maybe we split once more. Hey, that rhymed. But then they're kind of meeting at each other in a weird way, but there is enough space here to put down 4 stackers, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should work all the same in a very interesting crossover pattern. And then we can still go back to this launcher here to save space. Nice, we're doing it. And we completed this task here, 2 more points, which should give us the counterclockwise thing. Where was it? Oh, that cost 4? Well, that's annoying. I guess we'll save it, but now we have this one to work on. which should be as simple as, okay, that's there, and then, let's see. So it's like that. It's actually as simple as just stacking on top of that. We shouldn't need to rotate these. We just need to rotate and split the pieces that are getting stacked on top of that. And now I'm kind of worried we won't have the real estate for it. But actually looking at the second layer, we might be able to. We just need to split before it rotates like this. And then that gets fed into a 180 rotator. And does that line up? It looks like that lines up. Okay, easy. Oh, but I also forgot some of these actually don't need that. But now they're all facing the correct way, so we bring them right back over to here. But now it's lining up weird. This line should have been going the other way. Thankfully, cut and paste is a thing. Okay, so now everything is lined up right. A little bit of stacking, and did we miss one? We might have missed one. There's the issue. And that's the shape away. A very easy adjustment. Probably could have shortened up the conveyors a little bit, but I do like to see them work. Okay, that was very simple. This one here is about halfway. Are we setting off this one correctly? We are. And then this one is almost done. Very good. Although the rate that this is going at is incredibly slow. And I think the issue is that these shapes here aren't going nearly fast enough. So that's annoying. So now the mystery is, why is this not sending? Oh, we cut off the stacking production line. Whoops. Wait, that can't be right. Or is it right? It looks like it is right. I think the issue is that we interrupted things a little quickly. So if we clear this, then that should resume. There we go. I think we fixed it. Yes, we're sending them away. And we completed this pin task. Nice. 5 research points total. Is that enough for something? There's enough for the 90 counterclockwise rotation, which I think might be helpful. But now we have a new shape here to worry about, which is looking a little sus. Or if we complete one more side objective, then we should be able to get enough to upgrade the stacking speed even more. I kind of like that idea. We don't really need the counterclockwise rotation. It's not like we have space that we're constricted on. I just happen to spread out more than is needed. I think I did see a pointed shape. Yeah, right over here. Now we don't need this shape anymore. So really we could stop this whole line and then save the stacking setup over here to complete this shape. We'll keep the extractors here just in case we need those shapes in the future. But then we just bring those shapes right around to here, and then it should be easy to do this. The rotation is correct there, and the rotation is correct over here. Oh, I love it when a job is easy. Although that's showing up as a completed task there? Oh, it is. Wow. Was not expecting that. So in that case, let's bring them all together like this, and then we can split off half of them to go to the thing. Meanwhile, the other half gets distributed to the other points here that we need. Although this is gonna be a little tricky to do, but they do need to go up here for sure. And the best part is while we're figuring this out, all those shapes are still making it to the void pit to collect. Okay, but now those are being complete. Very nice. But now this is meant to be just going up like that. We need another split going over here to, wow, this is tricky. It might be better to clean all this up and then distribute them like so. Okay, that's an easy fix. I think that'll do it. And we're still sending away enough of the half mushroom shapes to do this. That worked out surprisingly well. But are we still getting output over here? It looks to be a bit stopped, but now that the shapes are flowing in here, it's resuming again. Good. I almost want to clean this up so that the production resumes normally. So I will. There we go. That should fix the blue shapes coming in. But now what is this chain like? So we get to a gray half and then a full gray circle on top of it. And then all that goes on top of a gray square. Well, that's easy. I guess, is there anything else that we could be doing in the meantime? Nothing else that I really care about, to be honest. I just want to complete the milestones because there's one more after this, but that should be pretty simple to do actually. It just needs a lot of them. One more pin task complete? Yes! Only 2 more research points, but that actually should be enough for the stacking upgrade. Yes. Okay, that should make things go way faster. Now, the last one in this chain, is it the last one? Oh, there's actually one more step after this. Wait, how are these different? Oh, this one's just a gray circle and this one has a little colored corner, I see. But let's see here. So basically we just don't split the circles over here anymore. That's easy enough. Now the gray squares here are being held up quite a bit. Is there a cheaper side objective that we can do that involves that? Missing a quarter? That's a very low amount. Recycling milestone shapes? I guess there's that. but I'd rather do the missing a quarter thing really quick. So that would involve splitting this, and then we cut. This one gets a bit removed. Or actually, we need to rotate that first. So we rotate, and then we send it to be cut, and then it gets stacked, and that's the shape. Very nice. Also, what happened here? This isn't flowing anymore. Oh, the outputs got caught again. Why? I guess because the flow was weird? What if we clean all the conveyors? Just reset it all from scratch. I want to see this play out. Okay, so all that goes, it gets split, and some gets launched, does a little backflip, and then some of it gets brought to the second level. Oh, did we miss some? Well, that shouldn't matter too much, because it's at the end of the line. Maybe it's some of these sides getting caught up, but since the stackers are faster, maybe that'll fix things. I mean, the outputs are flowing again. Hey, this shape got done. So now we have one more research point that we can't do anything with, but now there's this one. We'll worry about that later. Still not sure why this one got caught up. Maybe it was the stacking speed that was the issue. Oh, is it not going anymore? Oh, it gets really caught up in here because that can't cut unless this resumes. So the speed is an issue, and sure enough, some of the outputs are giving out again. And now it's all stopped. Yikes. And we were nowhere near completing that either. Well, this one might do better being just directed around like this, and there isn't even really enough room to like split these to double the output. Maybe we do need that trash just to regulate the flow, because the flow's good for a while, but then it quickly stops. Is there enough room here to have this happen twice? I don't think so. We might be able to copy this platform and then have it run in tangent a couple of times. It just involves splitting off the resources like this a couple of times, but also this would work better just like that. So that should help regulate the flow a little bit. And then let's reset all this down here yet again. And then the space belts will conjoin right here. That actually looks pretty satisfying, just watching the arrows do that. But that should help control the flow, and then we just have a couple of splits over here to regulate it even further. I sure hope this fixes it, because maybe upgrading the conveyor belts is what shot us in the foot here. You know, I'm just gonna clear all of this. It's too bad we don't have the third layer unlocked, or else this would be a lot easier to deal with. But what there is a second layer to build space platforms on. So if we need to split this even further, we can. Although it is looking pretty spaced out right now, so maybe we fix the flow of it. The only place where that's an issue is the main platform here, where everything starts, because that flow is very unregulated. And I don't really see a way to fix that unless we get the trash things again, like I was talking about. So I guess what we could do is just eliminate one of these conveyor lines entirely and then just have a split here. But now there's an output that isn't being used. Am I worried about that? Not really right now. As long as the output flow is good, it shouldn't matter. So now we have all the shapes flowing to the pit. Very good. And this objective's about to complete, so was the milestone up here. This one has another third to go. But of course, this has stopped yet again. Really hoping one more clear does it, because these other sides are having no issues. Although it kind of bothers me that we're not making use of this other output here. Problem is, not really sure where we can put that. Everything is good working here as is. Oh, I just realized this is getting split two ways. That's a little unintended, but it helps regulate the strong flow here. Hey, that one's complete. Yes, 2 more research. And now, of course, it gets even more complicated. Actually, that's not so bad. We just need to bring back the blue corner that we cut off before. Which, what even happened to that? Oh, that's going to the milestone here. That's right. Although, there is enough backup here that maybe we can do something about that. So then we can make use of a second row of launchers, which would make use of the second row of conveyor belts. So let's see, if we bring this up to the second level and then split it to go over here, then this comes back down, that's uninterrupted. And there they go, on the second row of conveyor belts. Very nice. Now, how do we do that 3 more times? Well, I think a flip and rotate would be a part of that. So that handles those, but then these 2 on the outside here are kind of an issue. Unless we do a weird loop-de-doo up and around here, and then we get a launcher on the second floor. So a lot of crissy-crossies happening. But then if we just move this the same way and then have it be 1 grid space separated, I think that should do it. But ooh, that's a very tight space. Well, that means this conveyor is just coming around the side here like so. But even that's still not enough. Can we just launch straight from here to there? It looks like yes. But now, of course, that's being interrupted because it went too far wide. There we go. Okay. This is a very ugly system, but it works. We have 2 layers of output happening. The bottom one still has some catching up to do, but at least we're making use of the top one now. And that's also starting to get a little backed up. So layer 2 of production definitely needs to happen because we have a lot of input happening now too. Oh, but both of these are complete. I didn't even realize. 3 more points there. And then this one gives 1 more. 7 points again. So now we can afford the trash. Ooh, but a bench stacker, that might save space. It's also a faster version of it. Not sure if that's what the holdup is though. But at least now we can chop these down, and then where do those go? Are those even what's being outputted here? Okay, it is. So we should just be able to maneuver this shape through here. And then, do we still need to move these up to the 2nd floor? We actually should be able to just bring a line of them outputted here because we don't need those shapes anymore. And then stack them. Yeah, that did it. Very easy fix. And this one is actually 3/4 of the way done, give or take. So we can move on to the next milestone here pretty soon. But of course, this one stopped yet again. Why? What's the holdup? Is this output just too fast still? Oh no, it's just getting backed up everywhere regardless. I see, but it's almost done though. Maybe it'll complete after another clear and then we can worry about what to do next. I also totally forgot that this was one that we completed, so we need to start doing something different there. Okay, so that involves a counterclockwise rotation again. You know what? We're gonna do it. So we do that, and then we split, running a little tight on space here. Let's go a bit sideways first. So then we can go up here, and then stack, and good. Thankfully, that's not too much either, even if it doesn't give a whole bunch of research. Actually, 2. Now we're into good amounts. But now there's this one here, which is needing the colored corner. So these gray circles are not good enough anymore. Although we can use these shapes if we just split the output here. So step 1, clear all this. Pin task complete here. Finally. Now it's another rotation, so even more issues there. And it's starting to get clogged again, which isn't good either. Okay, I think what we need to do is have a stack, move to a different platform, stack, move to a different platform, stack. Because it was going good until we try to fit everything on one platform. So, oh, this is gonna be an ugly adjustment. We delete all this, and then we need to get back to what we had before, which now should be as simple as having some of these do the rotation, and then they're lined up to stack with another thing. So now that's outputting that, good. And then backing out here, let's just delete all this because we're just gonna have them go from one to another. That should save the clogging issue. And then I think we can copy all this easily. Okay, so there's that, and then we get this one here. We might be able to make some of these just the West Hemisphere destroyers again. And by hemisphere, I mean the western half. So that should be working well enough. So now, whoop, we rotated too much. Oh, and these are rotated the wrong way. Thankfully, we have a counterclockwise rotator to fix this. Was there something else going the wrong way? Okay, but now that's rotating too much, or incorrectly. There we go. Wait, now that one's weird. Oh boy, because this is not rotating enough. Really glad we could just replace machines to fix this. Or wait, that doesn't need a rotation. Okay, very simple. Now one more line to fix, and I guess there's one that isn't being fully utilized. Okay, so all those are correct. That's the important thing. And it might be as simple as just copying this entire platform again. Oh, but without the cutters. But also, this still isn't moving. I guess because these outputs need something to do. Actually, you know what? Okay, yep, easy fix. But now these aren't moving. I guess because the entire line is backed up. But at least all of those are outputting normally. Now, these lines over here, we really don't need to do all of this for anymore. So let's clean slate the whole thing. Actually, let's just maybe delete this. That makes it easier. And we actually don't need too big of platforms to do this now, because now we just need to bring the shapes in and cut them, and then have them join here. So one side can be the one layer, and then the other side can be the top layer. That makes it easy. And this objective is so close to completing, so maybe we should get this going before we finish up here. Ah well, it shouldn't matter too much because we're close to setting this up anyway. And then you join here, and then you join down here. Easy. Now let's see, how do they rotate? That one there needs to be 180'd. I also just realized that we're only getting half of the output here. Don't worry about it. And we also just completed that other milestone there. Good, very good. Okay, let's see. How do we join these together? It should be as simple as this. We'll have you cross to the far side. So I go like that, and then stack. Okay, that's working. And then we do the same thing here. Do those need to be rotated? No, they need to be counterclockwise rotated. That's different. And then the stackers go like this. Yes, that's the correct output. And if everything is going correctly, it shouldn't be interrupted. Beautiful. This is working so much better. At least I hope so. There's a little bit of backup happening here and up here. Oh, also there's an output here that isn't happening. And now we messed up somewhere, so that's going the wrong way. There we go. There's gonna be a couple of wonky shapes going through there, but everything should be fine. Now we just focus on this shape, which we need to salvage 4 blue squares. Is there a blue solid thing anywhere? I mean, there's this, but that's ugly. But we should be able to do interesting things with this whole line, because all these shapes aren't even being used anymore correctly. Although I guess half of them are being joined here, but on the same token, the red half over here would be much easier to work with. Why is this line being interrupted now? The whole thing got interrupted. What happened? Oh, is it because we lost these somewhere? Oh, I forgot I was gonna work on that. Actually, I might have been overplaying this. Hey, that one's done. 3 more points, 9 research points total. Now there's a trash thing if we want, but I feel like the bench stacker might be good here too. So let's get that. Both the top and the bottom take from one side, and then it spits out the side there. But let's see, we need to split this and then have that go up like that, and then over and over like that. That connects like that. Stacker, straight stacker like that. Is that? Oh, it's a full circle. I didn't realize that. So we might need this happening over here again anyway. Well, we're almost there. It actually might be as simple as bringing these shapes around like this, so the bottom flings in like that, and then we get a stacker in like this, and then when they launch, they get cut, then they rotate, 180, all feed into here, and that's correct, yes! Although this is gonna be pretty slow. Well, it's a side objective, I'm not too worried about it. Oh, and I guess we do have the completed red shapes over here, so those are easy to move. It's just the 4 corners here. So this bottom row definitely needs to be different, and it might be easier to have them meet over here by these dumping points. So we stop all those, bring those up, and then over here. Okay, and then up to the next level here. But also we need to split these. And of course we need a 180 rotation on that. So now they should be able to stack right before getting to the launcher. And sure enough, they do. That's very limited output, but as long as we have one going, we can work on getting it extracted much better. All right, now that I've had lunch, 30 minutes have passed, and in that time, we have completed the major objective here for 8 whole research points. Well on the way to completing this one, and the one that is up here completed for more research, 13 research points. And unlocking the 3rd building floor costs 50 research, goodness. And now, both of these shapes are incorrect, because this, what needs to happen here? There needs to be blue square and red quarter circle on top of the shape that we made. Actually, okay, it's this with the added addition of another red quarter circle. So we might be able to do something there, but really we need to work on this milestone here because in all that time, we only got to 500. The red production over here is fine. It's this one that has issue because we are also splitting this kind of. But since that's backed up, I think we can at least deviate this to here to increase output over here. Not really sure where the struggle is. It actually looks like it's on pretty good pace over here. It's not quite to overflow status, so we really can't set up another one of those. Although there is overflow here, so we might be able to copy this just over here to something like that. Now that output's increased. And now that has effectively moved the overflow to a different spot. It looks like we might be reaching overflow status here, which would be good. We're definitely overflowing up at the top, so hopefully it's overflowing enough that we can copy this right down here. Although, which way do we do this? Do we need the bent one now? The problem is the overflow isn't really happening here. So let's see, we split this down here, and then do that, and then do this. That should be good. And then that connects here. Okay, so that should be increasing the output that way. Oh, did we just interrupt something? We might have slowed this down too much, because now the top layer is not getting enough resources. Well, I guess that just means that we need more output over here. Although now I think it's gained enough. We're starting to get limited on space, which is the issue here, I think. Actually, do we really need all of this to just be conveyor belt? We might be able to do the things that are up here, down here, which I'm not sure that would make too much of a difference. We are almost to the point of production only going to the top now. If we had one of those overflow things, that would actually help. How much is that? 20? Ooh, we could actually get there pretty close if we complete this one, which it is halfway done with. But now these here just need the quarter circle in the corner to complete, which is there a rock out here that does quarter circles only? Oh, well there's this whole thing. I didn't realize this was here. That would have made this production so much easier. Oh well, we're making it work. I guess not, but there is the whole production here that's backed up, so we can split this to, where's that going? Over here? Probably have to go down and around then in that case. And then on the way, we're gonna have to do a thing where we rotate and then cut and then rotate back. So that lines up and then stack and away it goes. And now all of this is pretty much useless because we have completed this production now. After all that time we put into this, feels kind of bad to see it all just go away like that. But this might be where we extract that corner just to make this a little easier. After we do a lot of simplifying, we'll just save all of this for, you know, thinking back on the good times. And then until we need something else to do over here, all these will be deleted. So then the factory will go quiet. Although, interestingly, this shape is pretty close to this one. It just needs that quarter circle there, which there is still here. We might be able to do something with that. Oh, did we just interrupt the flow? I don't think we did. At least I hope not. But that's starting to short out, so I think we did by placing this here. That's a problem. Well, not like we really need too many of these. Now, we still need some of these to be cut, but we don't need all of these going that way. So these two can go down this way. And then we need to split all of these so we can join them all and then split them again, I guess. Or there is a lot of halves, but that would also mean a lot of stackers, which really slows things down. But that would also, I think, help us out here if we have the real estate to figure this out. So these probably gotta go down like this. So that works. Now they can go next to each other. And wow, this would mean that we're getting 8 corner pieces out of this. We could really boost the output here. But let's have the shapes over here go up to the second level. That should make that easier. And then we need to rotate these to go like that. And then those pieces rotate counterclockwise, so they're all outputting the same. And then here's a bit of a simpler process, I think. So that should be good. And then they can all join together? Or do we split them? Maybe we should split them. This is actually a pretty good spot for the corner stacker to go. So we go up like this and then like this. Should be fine. So all of these shapes can go towards one way, and then the ones that were joined together down here can go to the other one. Just kind of building from reverse, just until we figure this out. So that should work. And then they all join together here because they're not gonna be space enough to really clog anything. And there we go. Next step in the mushroom shape. And of course there's still these shapes. Since all of this is backed up, I feel like we could double the output of this. The problem is, of course, finding the real estate to do it, unless we chop away some of this production, or at least split it off, so some of these shapes can carry through to make this one, and then others go through to make just the blue squares. I think that should work. There's another output here, which we can slim this out. This should free us a little bit of real estate up here. And the interesting thing is, we do have 2 layers of assembly line over here, so that would mean there's 2 layers over here. That could double our square output. Let's use these, I think, and then let's set it up here before we do anything, just to make sure we got it right. So 2 layers come in, and then we don't need the western half, so that gets entirely destroyed. We could honestly make the square platform here, actually. That should make that better then in that case. Okay, so all those come in there, and then we rotate these, and then they get stacked like that, and then half of them rotate that way, another half rotate that way, and there we go, we got squares. And then that gets sent away, but why does it say locked? Is it because there's no real spot for it to go anywhere? I'm not sure, but we don't need these then. And is that as good as that can get? I suppose we could split it because this is a pretty good system. So we just need one of those up here and then over here. Might be splitting too much, but that half can go that way, this half can go that way. And I guess we can't have a 4-way conveyor here, so that's an issue. But really all it needs is just the cutter to be backed up by one square. And then I guess just have that feed down the line there. Oh, and I guess all the conveyors connected down here would help too. Don't worry about it. Okay, so all this should be working now. And sure enough, there's 3 outputs for these squares. But now we should be able to move all of these over to here like this, and then keep that going around like so, and then down. And then that should connect. Now this might clog the output there, but you know what? It's being clogged out here too. So actually we should have this come over here instead of down there. Over here and then down like that. And then this can split there. Good, finally doubled the output. Hopefully that goes better because there's still 7,000 to go through. And is this third one even being used? Okay, there it is. Why was that one so slow? I guess because it's not as backed up as the others. But since this is still being backed up, we might be able to split this again and then have a third stacker going, hopefully. And it looks like it is. Very good. But I think we can split this even further. We do have another level of shooters that we could place here. I did forget about that. So let's just have these go over here, maybe? Now, I kind of like having the shapes launched from the same side. But also, we don't really have the space for this. So let's put a bent stacker there. We can have another split here, go up like that. And then, how do we get the blue shapes over there? You know what? We don't need all this extra nonsense. Start to split back here. So now this can come around, down, and then like that. There we go. Now we have 4 of those. And it looks like we might have fixed the flow going through here too. Maybe. I think the answer is yes. Okay, so we can let that cook for a little bit. But this shape here we haven't even started on. But also it might be better if we have more real estate. And how come this one still has a lock symbol on it? Is it because the flow is frozen? Or not frozen, but just like slowed down really badly? Well, either way, we did fix the flow of the red shapes, but the blue shapes are still incredibly backed up, and I don't really know what else to do with those. Is there a task that involves them? Oh, there is, but we don't have access to it yet. We might need to reach the next milestone to get access to it. Well, I guess from here, if we wanted to, we could try to figure this out, but also the blue is not the problem, it's the red. Unless we split this, because that's getting backed up, I think we should be able to do that. So first, let's connect all these onto one conveyor, which will give us real estate up here freed up. And then we'll maneuver a thing here until we can launch it. And then all of those can get connected to it. So now, oh, it's so annoying. Why does it have to be west and east? Why can't it be north and south split? Well, either way, we rotate like this, and then we cut, rotate back, and now it's lined up. So then, hey, we completed that thing. Almost done here, and then that like that. Let's give that a little more space though, so we can set up more things in a line. But now we're sending off that correct shape. Very good. 2 more points here. We have 15 total. And sure enough, that was getting backed up. So let's get a few more stackers in here. All that we have space for. Now this actually might back up that conveyor a bit too badly. Actually, it doesn't look like it. So now the next shape here is just a solid circle on top of it, which they're right next to this, so that's convenient. So it's a very simple creation. Okay, we might have split the red circle line a bit too much because now this is entirely empty because of the splitting happening down here. But I think a problem with that is also because these are holed up as well. So I guess what we can do there is split this like this and split this one as well, just to get more cutters in place. So now there's red circles to join over here. And because of the nature of things backing up, let's just split these even more so, and then join them over here. That should fix things, because the blues are incredibly backed up. It also seems like production might have stopped over here. Or I guess not, but it's waiting on the red things here, which has slowed down dramatically because the blues aren't getting cut anymore. So we should be able to split these as well. And really it's just save a lot of real estate down here by cutting out all of this down and around stuff. Okay, so that should help things out. We could probably do better over here then in that case, since these are also backing up the line tremendously. Honestly, what if we just move all of this over to be over here? And surprisingly, the top layer of the stackers is keeping up now. I take that back. It's not keeping up. Not keeping up at all. But that just means we can put down another stacker here. But now there's nowhere really to send these without more red circles coming in. Thankfully, this line is looking kind of backed up. All right, so there's another shape output there going. Please hurry this up. We still have a 3/4 of this to go through. At least this one's about to complete. So that means we can clean up all of this line, I think. Is this the last one? Yes, it is. Oh, good. 8 research points there. That does give us enough to upgrade one of these things again, or get the overflow splitter. These kind of do that anyway, don't they? Well, not really. Yeah, let's take the overflow splitter. But now we see an opportunity for us to expand this production even more. See, there's both of these things here that we're not using. This has enough to it that we can make the circle, and then this has enough to it that we can make the square. See where this is going? We'll just need a couple more platforms for this. And also just the, extractors. Probably the big one for this. And then, okay, we can actually use a lot of what's left here if we cut out this line entirely, or at least change it. So these up here, rotate, and then, oh wait, rotating the wrong way. There we go. We want to save the blue side. Don't really need the not blue side. Also, I guess there was only 2 outputs happening here because this got stopped somehow. Oh, that would be why. Forgot I did all that. There we go. Hey, that one's done. 2 more there. Now there's a whole lot of incorrect output happening here. So we need to stop all that nonsense. Actually, we don't fully need to. We just need to rotate some things and then chop wherever that shows up. And that's destroying the wrong side now, whoops. And then rotate some of these things again, put a stacker in. So now that's outputting half of that. I feel like that might be easier done over here, but also there's not enough happening over here. We could make all the individual squares and then have them meet on this platform. I like the idea better. Let's clean all this, which now will let us use all of the outputs over here. Okay, good. And then we can maximize the outputs here too. Not necessarily the output amount, but at least the number of outputs. So we have that, and then we need to rotate again, and then cut again. There we go, 4 squares. So now only some of these need rotating. Okay, we're gonna need to clean this. So if you stay still, you rotate once, you rotate the other way, then you rotate 180. That should put them all in all the corners that we need, so that's good. Now we worry about stacking these, and those are actually in good enough spot to stack right away. Well, let's take the bent output for that. There we go. And then that goes straight down there while you go up like that. And then where does that go? I guess it still kind of goes here, but now there's things here that we're not using, including all of this. Okay, stop this nonsense. There we go, square away. And then we should be able to do the same thing over here, as long as this is starting the same way. And then all of these should be able to do the same and then go that way. So we'll copy all this right to here. And then I guess here as well. So those are all going. And then all of this can be copied to here. But it's still got a bit of a weird overlap. So let's redo these conveyors to come down to here. And then we also kind of need the conveyor to meet up here too. So at least we're able to send away some squares. Now we should work on the circles over here, which should be about the same as what's happening here. So we get those in there, and oh, hey, that's perfectly set up to separate the red corners. Oh, that's awesome. Let's just make this compact, because I feel like for this one, we might need to try and get everything that's going on here onto one platform. So we'll need all the space that we can get. Realistically, we could have another platform here to just join them. But can we do this? Might be better to just do this. Very easily getting another square away. But then over here is kind of weird because it's already down here, and this is more built for just going almost to the middle. But we can just compact this a little more. Oh, I see the problem. This is still full of the not separated sections. Well, let's just fix that. That's looking better. Almost. Okay, now we're clear. Wait a second, what's happening here? How are these shapes getting through? Were they already here? They must have still been there somehow. Not sure how that happened, but this stacker needs to go that way. There we go. Now the setup only has 3 square outputs there, but that should be fine. Still not sure where those came from and how they made it through all of that production undeterred. Okay, but this right here, I think is the best line for the stacking. But I guess they still kind of need the rotation in place. Otherwise, we're getting a 4 stacked shape here. That's crazy. So, kind of forgot a step, but I do like this being over here, so let's just move it down a little bit. Thought I had this rotation set up over there already. Now that's out, and it can go straight away. Now, are we able to do this more than once? We might be able to. At least twice, because we have 2 layers that we can do here. And how did we do that in the other spot? And copy paste says it was like this. Now, are those all stacking up correctly? It looks like yes. Beautiful. 2 lines. Just bring them all down like this and then down like this. Which we did just get the overflow splitter. So that would be like that. And then if it overflows, then it splits. There we go. But it is prioritizing this top line, which might not be the best thing. We do want it evenly split regardless. So we'll stick with that one. Not really sure where to put this, but at least we have it. And shape right there. Out like that. Now, is this backed up enough to get a 3rd one going? We're gonna need a 3rd one to match the flow of the squares here. But here, let's just have all that join in a platform here. I think this is backed up enough that we could get a 3rd going. So we'll direct this half down to there. Oh, I guess I can split that way, but not what I want. Or I guess it is kind of doing the overflow split here because it's trying to do every other, but it can't do every other. So, all right, no problem there. 3 circle outputs. So, very easily, we join them together like so. I think we have put these on the wrong level. I am roping you into my mistakes. That works better. Okay, get these out of here. We don't talk about it. There we go. Yes, more circle red, square blue outputs. So now, where is that going? I guess 2 of them are going to 1 here, but this looks better. Man, I really wish I knew how many shapes of this we were throwing in at a time. Statistics? 90 a minute? 87 a minute? Okay, I guess it's staggering, but it should really jump once these start making it in there. Oh, the beauty of automation games. The more you play them, the more you know how to refine things. Which is probably why a bunch of you have a problem with my setups, because I'm only putting a couple hours into this. But now all of those are making it in at pretty regular intervals. So now the production is boosted to over 100 a minute, and it's still going up. It seems to be averaging 136, which is so much better. Oh, I take it back. It's still going up, 140? Beautiful, and we're also roughly halfway done with this milestone. That would complete the entirety of milestone 4. And what's great is we might be able to split this to do this even more, which should be as simple as just having all of them go to the same thing here, and then split from there, which now is a really good spot for this overflow splitter. Although that also slowed down things enough because now they're not all going here. There we go. And then same thing down here. So now there's 4 outputs of this shape. We're also done with this line anyway, so I don't know what to do here. I mean, it's that, but do I really care now? Not really. Although, should I? We still have a bit of time to go. If we bring this around like this and then split this layer, then is that enough? It would be if we had a stacker here, but we can set that up here instead. There we go. That solves that issue. Now these shapes aren't doing anything, so we could clear all of this to do something else. But at least now we're sending away that shape, so all the objectives are being done. And this is going so much faster, it's so good. Though it is still backing up the blue line, which I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, unless all of these are set up as overflow, because that would prioritize getting to the end of the track, and then when that clogs up, then it'll distribute to the rest of them. Maybe that would be better. The blues are already doing that, and the reds are about to start doing that, but is it enough? There's some that aren't quite making it. Maybe this one should be a normal one. That's getting more of them that way, so I think that's helping. Maybe the top row doesn't need that. Okay, that's more like it. Hey, but now this one's done. That should be the end of that research chain. Yes, it is. 13 research points again. We could unlock longer foundations too, I suppose. Not that we really need them, honestly. Although, interestingly, we're still getting backed up here. And we're still getting backed up in the blue area as well. We might be able to do more here. By having this split off here, go down, up to there. This whole platform gets copied over to that. This little guy gets copied over to here. And then the blue track splits. And then we connect back into here. Yes, it's working so good. But why are these wrong now? Probably because they were still on the conveyor belt. That's looking better. It is kind of weird to see them go down and then some of them curve over to the other belt, even though there isn't really a giant push lever thing that would do that. Look at how expansive our whole operation is. One end of it is over here. It all meets in the middle. and then we end up over here. And while we're here, we're gonna fix this line because that shape isn't outputting nearly fast enough, and it still isn't goodness. So that finished up quickly enough. 3 more research, and I feel like the swapper is gonna be very useful in the future, so let's make sure we have this unlocked. Now we have an entire half of the factory that is useless. But I guess there is another level for us to do here, which is the shape we just made on top of a blank square. Thankfully, there's still all that down here, so this should be easy enough. Oh yeah, super easy. Almost there, and... yes! Finally! Completed the 4th milestone! And that unlocks fluids and painting, yes please! Oh, good. So now we can paint them, and that gives new tasks, which I guess we have done some of them of already. Oh, and I guess there's special goodies for doing even more of these shapes? Or that just means we've already completed that section of the milestones, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. But funny enough, all that other pinned objective really amounts to is getting rid of these, connecting them to here, getting rid of that, and just sending all of those shapes on their way to be thrown into the pit. And here's some of the fluid things that we can work with, like the pipes, the pumps, and painters. So much fun stuff. But I think we've done a lot of good in our factory here, and I would certainly like to play around with some more things. So if that interests you guys and you would like to see more of Shapez 2 in their new dimension update, then be sure to let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and sub to Intern.